Well, as we draw to the closing segment of the breakfast show, we bring you what we call DIY, which means do it yourself. Let's take a look at this. It's really fascinating, and that is something you can really learn from it.
DIY defal ko sa bopa, defal ko sa bopa. DIY defal ko sa bopa, defal ko sa bopa.
Good morning, viewers. It's DIY time. Do it yourself. Defal ko sa bopa. It's all about taking things that you have at home or things that you can find around you and turning them into something nice, useful, saving money, and at the same time improving your creativity. Today on the show we'll be doing something different. What I'm going to show you is how to cover a basic earring that you have at home with an African fabric. Now most of the time you have earrings, be it a heart shape, a circle or a rectangle or whatever shape you have at home, and you've been wearing it for quite some time and you just don't feel like wearing something like that anymore. Now one thing you can do in situations like this is to take any kind of fabric. It could be African fabric, it could be silk, it could be cotton, and then cover it up. It gives it a twist, it gives it a new look, and then you can wear it for a longer period of time. Now today what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how you can turn a basic earring that you have at home into something like this. Now this is what the earring looked like at first. So if you want to wear a red dress and you really don't want to accessorize it with silver, you can get any kind of material and cover it this way. Now as usual, I'll show you the materials that you will be needing to complete what you want to do. And the first thing you'll need is a pair of scissors. It's the most important thing on when you're doing things that have to do with arts and craft. And another thing that you'll need is a pencil. If you don't have a pencil, you can use a pen, but make sure if you're using anything that's ink, you don't apply it on the fabric in a way that you will find it difficult to get rid of it at the end of the day. Now you also need thread, and apart from that you'll need a needle. I have already threaded the needle, so that saves me a lot of time. And then you also need a piece of fabric. As I said earlier on, it doesn't necessarily have to be an African fabric. It could be any kind of fabric depending on the dress that you'll be wearing it with. But for the purpose of today's demonstration, I'll be using this red African fabric that has bits and pieces of blue and then a little bit of gold print. Now let's get started. First of all, what you need to do is take the earring that you want to cover, put it aside, take the fabric, fold it once and twice. If you fold it in four, you'll see you've got one piece, 2, 3, 4. Now, you cut a square shape using your pair of scissors. That way. When you're cutting the shape of the square, take into consideration the size of your earring, because you really don't want to cut the piece of material smaller than the earring which you're going to cover. So if you put it on it like this, you see you've got enough space to work on the sides. Now the next step, separate the edges of the material. Open it to do the center part. and cut. Fold it back again and do the same on the other side of the fabric. Now you've got 1 piece, 2, 3, 4. The reason why I did 4 pieces is because the material is very light and you don't want the way that the earring that you're going to cover looks like to be too obvious. So I'm going to double 1 part and that would make it thick. But if you're using a material that is not as light as this one and is thick enough, you necessarily don't have to do 4 layers. You can just do 2 because it will be thick enough to cover the surface of the earring. The next step, put the 4 together. Make sure that the wrong sides are put together like this. So when you hold it, you have the right side and the right side, wrong side on the inside, wrong side on the inside. You do the same for the next one. Wrong side on the inside, wrong side on the inside, and put it together. Now put the 2 different sets together like this. Take your earring, put it on the surface. This is where your pen or pencil becomes useful because you're going to draw around it. Leave about half an inch on the side. So that should be like this. Follow the shape of the hat. Remember half an inch and draw a line. After drawing the line, you'll still have a heart shape, but the one that you've drawn on the fabric should be half an inch bigger than the earring because that is going to be the allowance that you're going to leave when you start sewing the fabric. Now the next thing you do, take a pair of scissors and then follow the lines that you have drawn on the fabric. To make it easier, if you don't want the pieces of the material to move, get a tacking pin and then put it at the center, so that will help you to keep the material in place, and then you wouldn't have one slipping over or the other one moving when you're doing the cutting. But if you've got perfect hands, you don't necessarily need to use a tacking pin. You could just cut it like that. Now cut. This is what you get when you finish cutting. If you put the earring on like this, you'll see you've still got space around. So now what you're going to do is you're going to start sewing using a back stitch. Use a needle and the thread. Start from here. Put it in.